Thanks so much. All right, now listen. 2 days after 9/11, 9/13, let's just say, were you watching the 700 Club? Anybody watching the 700? No, you weren't? All right, you missed the show. That's Pat Robertson's television show. You know, Pat Robertson, who is, you know, still crazy after all these years. And on his show that day, he had a guest by the name of Jerry Falwel. Some of you will fondly remember Jerry Falwel, right? And all right. You know, he's in the sky now. Jerry Falwell's in the sky now. He's going to be one of the paratroopers, I think we're going to see in a second. And the two of them came up with a theory. They said that certainly some of the blame for this has to fall on the ACLU. And on gays and lesbians and people of the American way. And, you know, and I wanted to call in and say, that was out loud. Did you know that? Jerry Falwell's God was standing by the elevator while we were talking about the party, so we had to invite him. And secretly we were wishing that he wouldn't come, because he's vengeful and jealous and he tends to smite people. And of course, he knew we were thinking that. Made him all the more determined to show up and punish us. And I wanted to invite my God, but he was at the beach. Jerry Falwell's God is everywhere, with a beard down to here and the gossamer robes and the button that says, "What would Jesus do?" And sure enough, day of the party, there he was at the door. And he spaketh he, saying, "I am come." I know there's a joke there, but Jerry Falwell's God will not be mocked. So I said, you know, come in. Jerry Falwell's God. Jerry Falwell's God. Now, I'm no heavenly host, but I throw a decent party. And there were all kinds of people there. Black, white, Swedish, Norwegian, the entire human spectrum. And right away, Jerry Falwell's God found the two people who would listen to him and began speaking in a voice so loud that a guy from the bowling alley came over and asked us would we keep it down. And he turned the loaves to fishes and the Oreos to Hydrox. And he made the lame to walk. And these were my friends, so they were still lame, but they could walk. And he divided up the room, divided he, saying, gays here, lesbians here, feminists, pagans, abortionists, people for the American way. And frankly, some of us did not know where to stand. I went with the lesbians. Jerry Falwell's God. Jerry Falwell's God. And he pointed his huge finger at each group in turn, saying, I blame you and you and you who have secularized society and cast me out of the town square. And I thought, man, you are the town square. And he said, lo, the end days are here, and the judgment is nigh, where I will draw the faithful to heaven and leave the unrepentant to walk a desolate earth. I know, strict. And he began to rain toads and spit fire. And he brought forth 7 bowls of 7 plagues. And I finally had to say, listen, I'll tell you one thing Jesus would not do. Jesus would not wreck a guy's party. And Jesus would not preach hate. And Jesus would not stand in the town square and say, I told you so. Jesus would not use a international catastrophe to score points for some narrow, misogynistic, anti-Semitic, homophobic interpretation of his life and teaching. And if people are vengeful and jealous and violent, maybe it's because you created them in your image. And if people have turned away from your word, maybe it's because you're a finger-pointing, moralizing, rageaholic, stone drag who gives deities a bad name. And if people have cast you out of the town square, maybe it's because you got spinach in your teeth. And he smote me. I hate that.